Anyway, I wanted to say about my mother. My mother is a totally bitch. My mother is a totally bitch. My mother's fucking bitch. And she hurt my father, Michael Jackson, so much that my father, when he had me back, that he asked his private detective, if my daughter has the same character as her mother, I don't want to know her. So you can imagine when I was kidnapped or anything, my mother was brutal. I mean, I will be also brutal if someone loses my child. I will also be brutal. But my mother had a character that absolutely tried to destroy Michael Jackson as a man, as a human being. So the thing that she did to him, she damaged him so badly. She damaged him so much that it was brutal for my father. And I found out that all later. When people say that I don't look like my father, I look like my mother, it's an insult. It's absolute insult. Because I look like both of my father. Physically, my body, the way that my body is made, I'm exactly like my mother. For my father to recognize me was very easy. I have the shape of my mother, I have the breast of my mother, and I have the brain of my mother, but I don't have the character of my mother. So there was a book that said, the brains is you are the brain. In my situation, is no, I'm not the brain. I have a different character as my mother. I have the way that I think as my mother. I'm an intelligent woman like my mother, but I don't have the character of my mother. So my father, Michael Jackson, he really went through hell with Barbara Jane Ross. About Barbara Jane Ross being the oldest sister of Diana Ross. I wrote that in my book, Thriller Betrayal. So there are things and questions are being asked by me in social media that I'm not going to answer. So I have come to realize that I may have done something wrong. I shouldn't have promoted my book, Thriller Betrayal and Thriller The Dark Side a lot, so that people know my story. But going to this child, being victim of child traffic in an illegal adoption, my papers being forced, I would not have such a bad time if my father was alive today. If my father, Michael Jackson, was alive today, he would be standing next to me in court and fighting this with me in court. But he's not there. He's not there anymore. And that's really make me standing alone in this situation. And my niece, Daily Franz, she was murdered in 2014. So I'm doing this alone. And I never expected to be totally alone without my niece, my sister, my niece that I called my sister. I never expected my father to be murdered that way. And there are so many things that I needed to do. I needed to prepare this couple of years to do what I do now. So I am really, really emotional that I'm standing alone. And I'm having a hard time dealing with social media. People asking me questions because I don't think anyone likes to be called crazy. But I can understand that people think that I'm crazy, and I'm thinking, okay, what? If people want to have conversation with me, if people want to talk to me, if people want to ask me questions, at least they need to know the basic. And the basic is they need to go and read my autobiography, because I cannot answer the question that they have, but I do want to have their love. I do want to have their support to understand me. The biggest crime that my father have been through, and the crime that I've been through. So I understand the question the media is asking. Social media is asking. I asked him, but I get so emotional standing alone in this fight. And now I'm thinking, okay, if people can help me to find a way to sell my books, to find a way to, if people are really interested, to go read my book, then I can go and go live on TikTok. I'll go live on Instagram and give answers. But now people are asking me questions. They haven't read my book yet. it's really hard for me. It's really hard.